Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to UniEE TV Week 3, the show that where anything can happen. Hi, Dave. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Nick. I am very well, and it's great to be back live on air. Week 3, as you say, and we've had 2 fantastic weeks so far to date. Few technical hitches last week, but we think we're pretty out for this week. We're always trying to make things better and grander and more exciting as well. And I know this week we're not going to let any of our listeners, our watchers, our viewers down, because we've got 2 fantastic guests joining us this week on the show.
We certainly do. Great guests, lots to learn from them, and ideally, magical audience. And the more interactive the audience wants to be, the better. Feel free to put comments into the chat boxes as soon as you wish. Join the show, shout out, comment on the guests, ask questions. And what we'll do, we'll try and keep tabs all the way through and shout out to who's responding, who's placing the questions and comments. So yeah, join in. The show is as much about you as it is about our guests. Dave, as our funky intro music plays, I have this vision, right? I'm dancing kind of in the background, and I have vision that the audience can see. Okay, and it doesn't fill me with fear. I just think, what a great way to energize the start of the show.
Absolutely. And I noticed again, look, little techie hitches are happening. I've got that kind of slowness about me, not as fast as normal. Hopefully that will play catch up very shortly in a moment. But yeah, what we're looking for, we want, engagement. So if you're sitting behind your desk working away hard, put down your pen, stop typing on the keyboard, and join us for the next 55 minutes, where we're going to have some great guests coming on the show. We'll introduce those very, very shortly. But yeah, if you want to shout out, want us to say, shout out about your business, then pop the comments in the chat box, and we would do our best to make sure we include you and, say who you are, what you do, and why you do it. Brilliant.
Especially if you've got lessons for us. Every day is a school day in business. As soon as we stop learning or close our eyes to what might make a business better, our businesses will get worse, I guess. And I guess the last year's taught us that for sure. We need to be able to kind of see what's going on, react accordingly. Feel free to share as many tips as you wish, audience, on how to stay alert in business, where to look for the latest trends, what's going on in your world. The more information you share, the more vibrant our conversations will be. So, Dave, who's on the show this week?
Okay, well, very shortly, we'll be bringing on our first guest, Mr. Mark Coventry from Mark Coventry Photography. Now, Mark is quite unique when we talk about photography in the respect that he talks more about headshots, that perfect headshot, framing this part of your body and making you look amazing. I'm not suggesting he's going to be getting out the airbrush and stuff like that, but it's, if you're certainly, lots of us are spending a lot more time in the digital world. We're using things like LinkedIn and other social media platforms, but let's talk about the LinkedIn platform, B2B, business to business. And what we're finding is that, people buy from people. So we want to be able to see the whites of that person's eyes. And I know Mark's going to be kind of telling us about why we should have a good headshot, why we should be, coming across professionally. And that's going to be super exciting, because I think most of us think, God, I've got it nailed. I've got a great headshot. I look good and my profile reads really well. But have we really? And I suppose that's where Mark's going to put us right, or tell us what we should be doing and how we can do it. And of course, I'm sure Mark will be able to also share what he does if you're interested in getting a headshot done as well. And then, sorry, Nick, go on.
No doubt, lots to learn from Mark. I remember the first time I ever saw a business card with someone's photo on, and it made me kind of giggle to start with. I thought, why has this person put a picture on a business card? And then suddenly we are surrounded by, if your profile doesn't have a picture, right, people aren't going to follow you. And then if your picture has a dodgy picture, okay, similarly, you're not going to get the kind of audience that you want. We've come so far in such a quick amount of time. So no doubt, we are making a number of mistakes along the way. So I'm hoping Mark will iron those out for us, point us in the right direction.
Absolutely. And then after that, after we've had Mark join us on the show, we're inviting our second guest on today, Arthur from Deep Affinity. Now, you notice how, Nick, I left out his surname. I'm going to get him to pronounce it for us when he comes onto the show. I was going to have a stab at it, but let's make sure we get it right. Do you want to have a go, Nick? I think you nailed it, actually, the other day.
Well, I'm calling him Zargaryan.
All right? Zargaryan. He sounds like a superhero.
If that's incorrect, Arthur, I'm ever so sorry. You'll set me straight. But it sounds so cool, right? I have a surname that is often mispronounced, but usually mispronounced badly. But Zargaryan sounds like a good start.
It sounds like a superhero. Maybe he'll turn up in his cape. Big AZ on the front of his shirt or something like that. And what's even more exciting about Zargaryan is that his company called Deep Infinity. It's just adding to that whole superhero Marvels, storyline, isn't it? So look really forward to welcoming Arthur on as well. We'll be talking a little bit about tech, which is something I love, as most of you are probably aware. Where Nick, I know with your scenario, you love tech as well, but not as much as I do. You like that real world, being involved, and people person in the room.
Yeah, I concerns me when people try and hide behind the tech. We are so good, right, at a lot of the human stuff, right? Our human superpowers, like you're mentioning, Arthur's superhero, right? We have superpowers, human superpowers, and sometimes we forget that and we let tech do a lot of the work. So yeah, I'm really interested to speak to Arthur to perhaps dig a bit deeper on what tech we should be using, what tech we shouldn't really be hiding behind. So yeah, I'm a tech fan, but I see it as a tool, and hopefully a tool that doesn't get in the way of this great human stuff that we're really, really good at.
Now, Nick, a couple of weeks ago on our first show, we were talking about, or we showed a short video where things can go wrong. We had Professor Roberts, can't remember his surname off the top of my head, but he was in the studio for BBC World Live Service, and his children walked in. And it's a great video, love sharing it. And I found this picture, actually. It was in the news, was this one of Dominic Raab. And obviously he's live on air at Sky News, as you can see there. And if you notice in the background, on the left-hand side, you can see the door. What's propping that door up shut? Can you see it? It's the broom. He has a brush holding the door shut, and I assume that's to keep out his children, or maybe his wife, or I don't know, whoever might come barging into his his studio, as it would be at the time.
Yeah, one of the big changes, right? We soon got used to working from home, and if you're lucky, you've got an office space at home. But that doesn't mean it won't be invaded. I like the idea of sticking the broom against the handle. Just an insurance policy. Yeah.
I wonder where you was going to say sticking the broom then. It was
anything can happen.
Absolutely. On this show, anything can happen. Nick, well, look, we're coming up to 10 past the hour. I think we give a big warm welcome, a big drum roll warm welcome to our first guest. Now, this is a bit of a giveaway, but look at those 6 fabulous headshot photos taken by our guest. Let's give a big warm welcome to Mr. Mark Coventry. Good afternoon, Mark. Welcome onto the UniEE TV show. Let's put you centre stage, Mark, because you are the focal point. Welcome on the show, and thank you very much for joining us and sitting patiently waiting backstage.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me on here. Nice to be here with you both.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Now, one of the things, before we kicked off the show, we just caught up for a few minutes just to make sure the sound was working, audio and video and all of that. And I said, what a great virtual background you've got. And then you went, nah. I've got the real McCoy here. Give us a. Can you swing us around? Is it possible?
Yeah, this is. I'm in the studio today, so this is the corner of the room where I sit. I've got a few headshots on the wall there. And then we come around, paper rolls, soft boxes on the wall, bits and pieces there to help with light, modifying the light and shaping the light. And then around here, and we've got a nice wooden ceiling in here as well. So it's quite a nice place to be in.
Lovely. Beats my virtual background, my real office that travels around the world. Wherever I am, it comes with me. It's the best office in the world. I pack it away in my suitcase every day. So, Mark, headshots. I kind of alluded kind of in the lead up that, you know, they are important. Having the right headshot to represent you as an individual. But tell us a little bit about what you do and why you kind of focused on headshots, being a photographer, and not just anything and everything, as not all, but some photographers do.
Yeah, it has become extremely important for your headshot to be right, especially over the last 12 months with everything that's been going on. Everything and everybody has gone online. So, you know, we all have an online presence. And I feel it's really important to make sure that we're all in control of that online presence as much as possible. So for people in business, most of our potential clients' first impressions of us will come from having a look at the image that they're using for our profile picture on LinkedIn or other social media business pages. Or if they find us on our websites, they'll 9 times out of 10, they'll be going to the About Me or Meet the Team pages of the website to check out who's in the business, who we are and what we're all about. So there are quite a few business owners out there who are using selfies and holiday snaps, and you see pictures of people holding their cats, pictures obviously on the beach on holiday, in the bar with a pint of beer or a glass of wine, and they just don't send the right message to potential clients. You want to be sending a message that you care enough about your business that you've invested in how you are promoting it and yourself online, and you are your brand. Everybody wants to know who you are. So having anything that's not really sending the right message means that you're missing out on inquiries for your business, basically. So for everybody who wants to grow their business and encourage new inquiries and new clients to it, then one of the best ways you can do that is to promote yourself in a really professional way. And that's why I love doing what I do, because not many people really enjoy having their picture taken. As soon as you stand in front of a camera, you start to think about what you look like, and that's when it all goes horribly wrong. Or you get that wide-eyed, deer in the headlights look like that. Oh my God, there's a camera. What am I going to do? So I always tell all my clients, it's not their job to look good in front of the camera. It's my job to bring out the best in them and to find the sweet spot, the best angles, to make sure that they're looking the best possible version of themselves that they can, really. And they've then got shots that they can take away and show to the rest of the world and be proud of them as well. And it really does make a difference to the number of views you'll have on your LinkedIn profile and also the number of messages you'll get. There are stats from LinkedIn that prove that. So, I love what I do. The biggest win for me is probably people arriving saying, I'm not very photogenic. I hate having my picture taken. I don't like seeing myself in pictures. And then they go away having enjoyed the experience and seeing themselves in a completely different way to how they saw themselves before. Because most of the time, pictures they've seen of themselves have been snapshots that friends and family may have taken, at family events or weddings or whatever. And, there's no direction, and they are just snapshots. And some of them might have caught them just at the right time and they look absolutely perfect. But most of the time, we tend not to like pictures of ourselves. And that's because there's no direction, there's no connection with clients. So that's what I love, is making people see themselves in a different way.
Makes real sense, actually. There's a professional way to do a picture, and there's let's say an amateur way to do a picture. And I think one scan of LinkedIn, you can instantly see, right, those images that have been taken professionally, right, because they look real good, right? And then those ones that are maybe just a good pic that they might have in a file somewhere. But because business spreads far and wide across social media, what about if my LinkedIn profile, right? I've been in the studio, you've made me look amazing, and I've put my images on LinkedIn, but I've not really thought ahead about Facebook. So Richard Pond, hello Richard, said hello in the comments. Amazing, right? Facebook image, right? Great work, Richard, right? What a professional image he's got on Facebook. But most people don't distinguish. They've got professional LinkedIn and then Facebook. Here I am on holiday with a beer in my hand. Yeah. Are you saying that certainly our profile pic on Facebook needs to be spot on as well.
I think for your business page on Facebook, yes. Your personal page, that's where you see a variety of images. Some people still use a professional shot on their personal page as well. But I would say for your business page, certainly. And there's different ways of thinking about doing that also, because some people like to have the same image across all of their business pages and their social media, so that they have that consistency there. Other people like to have different images. They'll have one for Facebook, maybe a different one for Instagram, and then a different one again for LinkedIn. If they're business pages, I generally advise people to have a professional shot on there, because it's a business page. People are looking there for your business, and if you're not sending the right message with the image that you're using, it may turn some people off and they'll move on to somebody else. Now, some people like to have a collection or a selection of professional headshots instead of just having one, and they'll use, some people will have the same one across all their platforms, but they change them regularly. So maybe every month or a couple of months, they'll change it to a different one, but they'll have the same one across all. And other people like to have a different one for each thing. But either way, it's a really good idea to have a selection of shots that you can use. And, a headshot session for me in the studio, we do some longer in the body shots as well, some slightly more relaxed, casual ones. The picture you showed of Richard there, he's got his flip chart there, and I've done some shots with other clients who present to rooms, and they've brought flip charts along, so you get some more sort of in-action shots, if you like, where they're looking as though they're presenting to a room. So the shot that Richard had on there for his Facebook page, I wouldn't consider that to be a headshot, because there's other things going on. It's a waist-up shot, he's got a flip chart in there. So that sort of image I normally recommend people use to tell the rest of their story when people find their way to their website, or you can use it for posts on Facebook or wherever. But that initial image that people have of you generally does come from your profile picture. So I would normally advise people to have a fairly tightly cropped headshot in there, so people can see exactly who you are and what you're all about. They can see that you're approachable. They can see that you look confident in what you're doing, and you come across as really professional. And that will encourage more people to get in touch with you. Yeah,
I always say that headshot, we want to be able to see the whites of someone's eyes. We want to be able to, we engage with body language, and eye contact is so important. I know it's a static picture, and when you look at that person's white of their eyes, it's not going to, hopefully it doesn't communicate back with you, but you get you start to build a rapport with something that's flat, non-dimensional at this time. But I'm a great believer, and actually, funny enough, when I work with some of the universities, Nick and I both work with a number of universities, and some of these universities, the students are a bit reluctant to showcase themselves, a bit worried about putting their photo out there. And some of them are actually utilising, so I was going to take equine, for example, and they're having pictures of the horse and stuff like that alongside them.
Yeah.
So, is that wrong, or is that right? Could they get away with that? So they've got a picture maybe of them with their horse. Is that kind of a bit like what Richard was doing, having something else in the picture as well as the headshot?
Well, the thing you've got to bear in mind is that most people will be viewing your profile images on a mobile phone. So the image is very small on their screen anyway. So if you're reducing the size of yourself in the shot by including other things around you, your face is getting smaller and smaller and smaller in that tiny circle on their mobile device anyway. So if people are putting a search in for you because they know you, and they're scrolling down the thousands of results that come up, and you're too small in the frame for them to see that it's actually you, they're going to just skip straight past and miss you. Yeah. But even if they don't know you, if they've put a search in for a particular type of business and you've come up in their search results, they're still going to scroll down. And as we all know, people will scroll until they see something that will stop them from scrolling. So if you're too small in the frame and you've got a horse in it, or a flip chart, or your car, or you're on the beach on holiday, it's not going to stop them from scrolling. They're going to miss you, and you're going to miss out on their inquiry. So profile pictures ideally need to be a headshot, because that will stop them from scrolling. And all the other pictures with the horse, the flip chart, the car on the beach or whatever, you can use those shots elsewhere to tell the rest of your story. But the first picture they generally see is going to be your profile picture, and it needs to stop them in their tracks and encourage them to find out more about you. And having a horse in the shot or a flip chart probably isn't going to do that.
It's a good it's a good point, actually, because I must have fallen foul of this. So I back in the day, right, used to do a lot of speaking from stage. Thought, here's a cool picture, right? As a picture of me on stage. Whoa, wow, what a big audience. And I've probably fallen into the trap of saying, well, that looks cool. Nick on stage, big audience, but I'm tiny, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm guessing people are scrolling past that. They've missed the real Nick, and they've gone on to some of my competition who are loud and proud, with quality headshots.
Yeah, the shot on stage is a great shot to tell the rest of your story, so you can use that elsewhere, but probably not the best shot to use for your profile.
Yeah, so I'd be mindful about providing, because I thought that's good context. That gives people a good idea of who I am, what I do. But I guess you're right. I should save those context images for later on in that journey.
That's right. Yeah. Tell the rest of the story with them.
So top tips, Mark, if two sides here. One, if you're doing the photography, how do you get someone to calm down and become natural and get that perfect shot in your eyes? Because that's what you're striving to do at the end of the day. You're trying to get that perfect shot, the best opportunity you can. How do you make that happen?
Well, everybody's different, but to be honest, 99% of people that arrive at the studio for a headshot are fairly anxious, fairly nervous. They're going to have the picture taken. It's something they don't really enjoy doing, so they're not really looking forward to it. So normally the first thing I do, I encourage people to bring along a variety of clothing options so that we can try different looks against different backgrounds and see what we think is going to really work best for that particular person. So initially, when they first arrive at the studio, I'll have a little look through what they've brought along to see if there's anything in there that grabs my eye, and I think, yep, we're definitely going to use that. But while I'm doing that, we're chatting and, how's business, and I get to see how that person is before they've got a camera pointing towards them. So I can see how they react to what I'm saying, and I can see how they are just talking normally. Because I know that as soon as they stand in front of the camera, they're going to turn into somebody completely different. And it's then my job to turn them back into the person that I was talking to when they first arrived at the studio and we were just chatting. So I've got a variety of coaching techniques that I use for posture and expression, and lots of little tips and tricks to make sure that, a lot of people are worried about how many chins they may have. So there's tips and tricks that we can use to get rid of the chins. Some people, everybody's got a best side. None of us are completely symmetrical. If you chop your face in half and then you flip that and put it back, it doesn't look like you. So I try different things and try different angles to find out which side that person is best on. And 65% of people are better on their left, and the rest are righties. But 80% of the time, it works with the side that they part their hair. That tends to be their best side. It doesn't always work, but 80% of the time-ish, it's about right. So it's down to me to find out the best angles, give them the tips and tricks, give them the coaching for posture and expression, and gradually, I never ask anybody to smile, and I try and make them forget that the camera is there. So they naturally start to relax, and I will say silly things and do silly things that will make them react, and that's when you get the most natural looking smiles and expressions, because they're not thinking about their smile or their expression. If you start to think about how you're smiling and how you look, your face goes wrong. It just never looks right. It looks like you're putting it on. So if you've got a reactive subconscious expression to something that somebody has said to you, that's as natural as you're ever going to get. So over a period of time, with all the coaching techniques and the tips and tricks and me saying silly things, we start to get images that look very real, very natural. It brings out the personality of the person. And that's as good as you're going to get.
Sounds brilliant. Sounds great. I tell you what, David, we're going to get away with it here because Mark's too kind to have gone on to our LinkedIn, looked at our profile picture. No, oh, really? Okay. Maybe I should have kept this quiet until it's gone, right? But and I'm thinking, right, I must have a good side and not such a good side. Which way am I parting my hair? Do I come across as natural? And I'm a bit petrified. I'm reasonably confident, but I'm starting to worry. Am I getting it all wrong?
Yeah, it's funny, some people think, they don't want to invest in having a professional headshot taken, because they think, oh, well, I've got some pictures, I'll just use one of those. And most of the time, it doesn't really do you any favors. You need to be looking at it a slightly different way. And as I said before, you are your brand, and people do buy from people. And those first impressions are crucial these days. If it's not right, they're going to move on. So invest it. Having a professional headshot done is one of the most cost-effective marketing tools you can have, because a good headshot will be working for you 24 hours a day. When you're not working, it's still out there. People are still finding you. They're still looking at it. A mediocre or a bad headshot is going to be working against you 24 hours a day. So, it's a small investment to market yourself and your business in a better way, to encourage more clients and more inquiries to your business. So it's really a no-brainer. Well, and although people don't really want to have it done, it's become an essential marketing tool for everybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We are running out of time very, very quickly. We've literally got minutes to go, Mark. It's amazing how quick time disappears when you're having a great conversation. As a business owner, someone that runs a successful small business, if you could give a top tip, not necessarily linked to photography, but it could be anything you've learned over the years, your expertise and wisdom, what would that one single top tip be that you would be willing to share with our audience today?
Well, I think, not even photography related. If people don't know that you exist, you're not going to be getting any inquiries. So you really need to be marketing yourself in the best possible way. Obviously, one of those is by having professional images to show yourself, your business, your products, whatever it is. You may have products to sell. You need to be showcasing everything within your business in a professional way as far as the imagery is concerned. But you can have the best pictures in the world, and if nobody's seeing them, they're not doing the job that they should be doing. So absolutely, you need to be getting out there, getting in front of as many people as you can. There's so many different marketing strategies out there now. Try them all and see what works best for you, and then concentrate on those. You should never have all of your eggs in one basket, as they say. So you shouldn't concentrate solely on LinkedIn or solely on Instagram or solely on Facebook. You should be involved with all of them. And some of them are going to work better than the others. But I find that the ones you get the most out of are probably the ones that you're putting the most into. So don't spread yourself too thin, but you need to be getting out there and letting people know that you exist and what your business is all about. So that's probably my best tip. Not solely photography related, but just get out there, let people know you're there. Tell them how brilliant you are at what you do, and show them how brilliant you are at what you do. And as they say, if you build it, they will come.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, it's been fabulous having you join us today. I have no doubts that we will catch up again soon. We'll bump into each other out there in the virtual world, and hopefully in the real world when we get out and about in the future. All the best. Stay safe. One last thing. How can people find you? Website. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Thank you. The website is quite simple. It's just markcoventry.com. You can find me on YouTube as well. There's a few YouTube videos to show you what I do. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook as @MarkCoventryHeadshots. But yeah, there's links to everything from my website at markcoventry.com. So if people want to get in touch, send me an email, mark@markcoventry.com. Be happy to hear from you.
Brilliant, Mark. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thanks for having me on, guys. Thanks very much.
Well, Nick, there we go. That's our first guest of today's show. And wow, really interesting learning more about headshot photography, what Mark does, how he makes the magic happen behind the scenes.
Yeah, really cool. Very cool. Visibility is key, and good visibility much better than poor visibility, for sure. I think we might have got away with Mark's commentary on our any profile pictures that we might have out there.
He's got away with anything yet. He's got access, to the chat feed. He could go in there and start typing if he wishes to do so. And of course, that's available to everybody out there as well. If you want to pop any comments into the chat box, please do let us know your questions. And okay, Mark's disappeared now. He's sitting backstage in the green room. We can maybe always bring it back on if we really need to. But of course, you can get in touch with him and have a continued conversation about headshot photography, etc. And also, our next guest will be coming on the show very, very soon in his cape, hopefully, Nick, our superhero. I don't know if even Arthur knows, our next guest, why we're calling him a superhero, but we'll explain when he comes in. If he hasn't seen the lead up earlier on in the show, we'll have to explain to him. Otherwise, he's going to be very confused why we're calling him our superhero. So, Nick, let's jump into what's in the news. What is happening out there at the moment? I know you picked up a few really interesting stories. So, what's happening in the news at the moment?
Well, today specifically is the 1 year since the World Health Organization declared the pandemic. A whole year has gone by. I guess it's a time of reflection. From a business perspective, no doubt it's been the strangest year for most businesses out there. I've had to change the way I do business. Most people, I guess, have having to radically change the way they do business. I guess it's one of those things you've got to keep alert. Don't think I've ever heard the word unprecedented or pivot as much as I have in the last 12 months. But yeah, you've got to stay on your toes in business, and this year specifically has highlighted that for all of us.
Wonder what the top word is of 2020 going into 2021. I'm going to opt for "you are muted." Okay, that's what I'm opting for, because I think that's the one that most of us are using quite regularly. Unprecedented, pivoted, absolutely. They're three really commonly used words at the moment. I've promised to get myself a t-shirt. If anyone can help me, by the way, I want a t-shirt. You can print it for me and pop it in the post. Just let me know and I'll give you an address. I want a t-shirt with "you are muted" across the chest. So when I'm sitting in a Zoom or Teams meeting and someone goes, I can go, "you are muted," like that. I'd love that t-shirt. If anyone can help with that t-shirt, let me know. And as I say, I'll give you my mailing address and you can pop it in the post to me. That'd be fabulous.
There's a business idea right now, right? Create t-shirts with sayings of the, someone's probably already doing it, right? And they've got a customer right here. Also saw in the news, Dave, which is it kind of opens up a bigger discussion. Marks and Spencer's here in the UK, they're going to stock clothes for the first time from rival brands. Okay, so in 2020, they recorded their first loss in 94 years. They've got rid of 7,000 staff. They're going to demolish the flagship store at Marble Arch. And they're opening up more online channels, 46 new countries, where they're going to sell not just their own product. Raises the question, okay, makes sense online and offline. What on earth will the high street look like in, say, 5 years' time? What on earth is it going to be?
What a great question. Do you know what we should do? Maybe, if not next week, the week after, we should base the show on the high street. Maybe what we can do is we can find a couple of retailers or, high street independent stores. I think I want to try and target here. We think we might find it quite tough to get, the head of Marks and Spencer's come on our show. Well, at the moment, maybe in a year's time, they'll be all willing to come on our show. But if we can find a couple of independent retailers, if you're a retailer out there, you're independent and want to come and join us on the show and talk about your business in the high street, let's make that show, Nick, in a few weeks' time, towards the end of the month, about that. Because I think that could be a really interesting discussion, the way Amazon have kind of ruled the world and the high street has lost its momentum, really, and things are changing. Why have they changed? But Marks and Spencer's stocking lots of products. As long as I can get my, meal for two, I think, that's going to be key. When I come back to the UK in a week or so's time, I'm going to be going to get my Marks and Spencer's meal for two. I'm looking forward to that.
Hopefully they can take care of you, mate. It does. I think that show in a couple of weeks' time, can a small independent business survive on the high street, right? So even Lego, okay, so Lego, they're reporting big profits, right? And the biggest growth in the last 5 years. They very smartly blend physical and digital products. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you want to play with Lego bricks, right? They look and feel like they have done for years, but massive array of digital products. Their partnership with Nintendo, their Mario range, proved to be their biggest seller last year. So maybe that's a solution to explore for a business that wants maybe some sort of presence, some sort of high street store presence, but you can't do that without a strong digital presence.
And finally, in the news, Lego you just mentioned. My daughter loves, she's 4 years old and she's now into Lego. So Daddy's into Lego. It's fabulous. I'm getting to, build all these masterpieces all over again. And Lego is much more technical compared to when I was a little boy. It's much more advanced, the technical Lego, but what great fun. Anyway, Nick, that is probably kind of summing up what's in the news this week. We like to pick a few little stories out and just see what's happening out there. I noticed that Chris Mason has popped into the chat box a link about Next. I won't share it, but you can pick it up on one of the Facebook pages and have a look more about that. So, Nick, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a very quick ad break. And when we come back, we're going to get our next guest onto the show, Arthur the superhero. Let's go to the quick ad break. So please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, listeners and viewers. Welcome to our show. Our guest for today, Arthur. And Arthur, can you pronounce your surname? Because this is where the superhero bit come from. Nick had a good guess. I don't know if he's right. Nick, do you want to say what you think it was?
Yeah, let's hear what.
So, and forgive me, Arthur, if it's wrong, but I refer to you as the Zargaryan.
Yeah, more or less right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So it's like Targaryen, but with a Z, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the way. Yeah. That's the way I say it. Since Game of Thrones came out, a lot of people to my dad go like, "Oh, like the Targaryens," and my dad has no idea what they're talking about.
Well, Arthur, the reason we talk about superheroes, I don't know if you saw the first bit of the show, is because your surname has that kind of superhero feel to it, and then obviously Deep Infinity, your business, just kind of had that superhero kind of Marvel comic, bit to it. So you are our superhero for today, anyway. But welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Pleasure to have you here. Let's find out a little bit more about Arthur. I know you're a hell of a lot younger than I am, Arthur, and younger than Nick as well. Recently, I believe, out of university. So tell us a little bit about your journey and tell us a little bit about Deep Infinity and what you're up to now. And am I right? You're sitting in Switzerland as well as we speak.
Yeah. I'm actually about to go skiing right after this call. So I'm living pretty good of a life. I can't really complain. I ran away but I'm coming back to the UK very, very soon. Are you based out of the UK, Nick, by the way?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Oh, okay,
and I am
awesome.
definitely missing my ski trip this year. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Nothing like a good ski trip in the winter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, thank you for the introduction, guys. A superhero. I was worried there for a moment. I was like, oh, man, why am I a superhero? But it's a pleasure to be on the show. And just kind of to start off the journey, I mean, originally our company was called Principium Solutions, which is something like you'll see in the company's house, like right at the bottom. That's what the name was originally. But we sat down with my business partner, Luca, after one of our advisors told us our name was really bad. We spent about a month like ideating, picking something which sounds very techy. So that's when we kind of came up with Deepfinity as a company name. And since then we've stuck with it. But our main product is called Parcel Tracker, and our website as well is parceltracker.com. So it's sometimes difficult to dissociate the product from the company. But that's kind of where the names came from. All of the name spiel there.
Now, Parcel Tracker, tell us a little bit more about it. I do know, actually, this is how we met. I was trying to look for a product for a client of mine, and I stumbled across Parcel Tracker. But obviously, of course, our audience don't know what Parcel Tracker is. So tell us a little bit more about what it is and how it works and what it does.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take the story back about a year before Parcel Tracker. So with a mate of mine out of high school, we made a business called IB Survivors. We did the International Baccalaureate. which is like the A levels. And basically, once we're done with it, we go to uni. We didn't want to let the knowledge go to waste, so we put together a website and like some ebooks, and we want just to make a business and make some money without putting in time directly. So we didn't want to do tutoring or the likes of that or consulting. And we grew the business for about a year and then sold it off. That was good fun. And once you get the bug of building up a business, it never goes away. So I had a bit of money, and there's only so much partying you can do over summer, despite being 19. So I decided to invest it into the next business, which is Deepfinity. And honestly, when we invested the money into the new business, I didn't even know what we were going to do. So we looked for some problems around us, and what we noticed was that the receptions of buildings just spent way too much time managing packages. And then, I put on the suit, went building to building in Canary Wharf just to see if it was an issue, not just in my building, but in other buildings. And yeah, it really was. We even got some pre-orders on the product. And the general idea was that all parcel management in these buildings was done manually. So, paper, pen, emails, or calling by phone. And we were just like, okay, let's digitize this. So we harnessed these little things called mobile phones, put some clever algorithms in there. And basically the idea was that as soon as a package comes into the reception, just scan it with your phone and then notify the recipient that it's there to be picked up. And then since then, we've grown the business. I mean, it took us a while to grow it, to be honest, but now it's going really well. So we have about 20,000 parcels scanned every single week. But we have a lot of people signing up. You guys were talking about visibility and having people find you. That's been really a big change for us. Like when we did SEO, for example, having people come to us rather than us like dynamically going out to people. And it's been a really, really interesting journey, and got some cool new products that we've been planning to release over the next few months, and kind of grow our product range and really dominate the world of parcels.
Nice. And is that, do you follow that formula? Find a problem, see if you can digitize it, and take some of the grief away. And in this case, reception areas, busy as they are, here's a problem. Take away some of the pain, and then spread the word. Right?
Yeah, definitely. You need to be solving a problem, right? There's a danger of falling in love with the solution, because nobody really cares about the solution. They care really about if you're fixing a problem or not, right? So when you're pitching a product, you're not really pitching the product. You're just pitching how the product's going to help a person, right? So if it's not helping them, it's not helping them.
That's a very good point, actually. That it's so easy to get carried away or obsessed by the solution that you and your business might come up with. But unless it addresses a particular problem, takes away that pain, I don't care how good that solution is. If it's not solving problems constantly, it's soon going to be redundant.
Yeah. And in terms of kind of solving the problem, I think we've really nailed that at this point. We have like no churn on the product from the people who start paying for it. They really love it, and really does just save them a lot of time. Just imagine they're like, you can do it manually or just quick scan, right? So you're going to love the product and use it every day. And we got really good reviews. The challenges in our business lie with more distribution side of things. How do you get to the clients who don't know they have a problem? They don't know there's a solution out there. And then for the clients who do know there's a solution out there, how do you make sure that you're the first one they come to, and once they come to you, they love you, they just work with you. So there's a lot of interesting challenges there we're dealing with.
And I'll be honest, when I was reaching out to try and find someone to solve the challenge, the problem that my customer had, how did I find you? Here's some feedback. I think we probably had the conversation anyway, but it was simply Google. I did go into Google. I was quite clear about what I was searching for. So I knew what I was looking for. That's the main thing. So when I searched, obviously it was very defined. And I don't think you come up top. I'll be honest. I think you were your first page, second or third or fourth, not as sponsored either. It was I tend to skip through all the sponsored stuff because it tends to be not what I'm looking for anyway. And I then go for kind of the natural listings, and that's how I stumbled across you. And look, today we're talking live on air, broadcasting all around the world and trying to promote Parcel Tracker on Deepfinity and what we do. So really interesting kind of story, how you started up, and you've had the challenges of marketing the business and I suppose like any business, you're still having that challenge now.
Yeah.
But what does the future hold? I mean, you're young, you're dynamic, as you said. You're looking, for the problems to provide the solutions. So that says to me, real entrepreneur. Probably at some time you're going to, as all entrepreneurs do, I'm going to jump to that. I'm going to jump to this. I'm going to jump to that. We see that in the likes of someone like Elon Musk, jumping around to all these different ideas. Is that kind of your mentality? Is that the way you envision things? Like to work on new stuff all the time?
I'm a bit ADHD, so by nature I like to jump around things. So I really focus on not jumping onto things, right? Because it's not like I'm at the point where my initial businesses are successful of any of Elon Musk's businesses where I can kind of jump onto everything and I put systems into place that the business is going to run itself. So right now it's all about, focusing in on the current business. Everything we do, we really have. The thing with SMBs or startups is, you don't have as much resources as big corporations. So you really got to drill down on what works and just, push that like one or two things until it stops working. And then you find the next thing that works and then push on that as well. But once we kind of nail the current product, really the whole ecosystem of it, there's really interesting things in the world of parcels and just going up and down the chain of logistics. So the likes of, working with consumers, right? Offering a really nice parcel tracking app. There's lots out there. Ours could be even better. Why not build one out, right? And then also going up the value chain, working more with couriers and more shipping and maybe even the retailers. So there's a huge chain and there's so many things we don't even know we can do until we kind of start interacting with it. There's a lot of unknowns in that world. Outside of Parcel Tracker and Definity, I'm really interested in just really technically difficult things. So I studied bioengineering and computer science. So I did an undergrad in computer science robotics, master's in bioengineering, and all my business partners are all computer scientists. And we really like the technical challenges. So next business we do, we're going to pick a really technically challenging thing as well. Something which has less of distribution problems and more of a technical initial product problem, I'd say.
And what do you look at as far as technical problems that have now been solved? As examples, saying, I wish we had come up with that solution. Are there things you look at and think, that's the sort of thing we should be doing?
I mean, just in the world in general?
Yeah.
I really like satellites now. I really like this whole new wave of CubeSat constellations. That's pretty cool. So basically, instead of launching one really big satellite, they will launch hundreds of smaller satellites, which will last a year or two. The likes of Planet Labs, Orbital Insights, ISI, Spire, really cool stuff. Like it's technically challenging. It's huge. It's like satellites. You have really clean, like nice warehouses where you build them. But because they're small and you're always launching them, you have kind of the speed of like a startup and the consistent iterations. And you get some pretty cool photos or like radar imaging or like weather predictions. Just really, really cool stuff. I might want to go into that, but I think it might be a bit too late, to be honest. That ship is sailed, so we have to find the next big thing, right?
Just out of interest, Arthur. I come from a tech background, and your tech is kind of one step above mine in a different area. But just out of interest, do you go down the pub with your mates, or if you're allowed down the bars and that? I don't know. But in Switzerland, are the bars open?
Not yet.
No, not yet. But okay, in the past, before pandemic time, did you go down the bar and sit with your mates and talk, just out of interest, talk about girls and guys and, or did you go down there and talk about, Starlink satellites and tech and stuff like that? Was it a mix of both?
When the pub was open, we'd be there a bit too often. I would say game of tennis after that, pub. Game of anything, pub. And to be honest, we wouldn't talk too much about that kind of techie stuff at the pub. We'd really have one focus. But I mean, like, for example, like, I have a company of a bunch of techie friends, right? And like when they come across something cool, they'll just like shoot me a link, They see something cool on Reddit, they shoot me a link. My mom sees something cool, she shoots me a link, right? I say I want to learn about something, I might read a textbook about it. It's not a question of, always talking about it, but when you find it interesting, just, research it. Spend some time on it, right?
Fantastic.
Ideally, yeah, you spend some time on it and you see it from a different angle, which usually the beer is it helps. The amount of times I've had a drink and I thought, wow, that's a really good business idea, and you don't do too much with it until you wake up next day and kind of weigh it up. But sometimes it frees your mind to think in alternative ways.
Yeah. In terms of core tech, like we don't necessarily talk about that much, but about business and marketing and sales, we talk about that way too much when we are at the pub. Like before the pandemic, we'd go on Fridays to the gym, work out, do then sauna, pool, and we just chat, in the sauna about business and how things are going, like with my friends who run other companies, and then we'd go for beers and food and just talk about business, how things are going, get advice. Like now, David, if you Google stuff around parcel tracking, we actually come like top 3. And that just came from sauna chats with my mate who's really good at search engine optimization. So I got a nice crash course whilst breaking a sweat.
Everybody needs a good mate like that. Someone that can make your Google search be much more, put you to the top of the list for free, of course, and maybe a pint or two after the gym, for the information and the sharing. Fantastic.
That is how I paid him, for sure. I'm not even joking. He actually ran me through what I had to do, and I was like, pints on business. We business expense a few pints there.
This is the way the other world live, Nick. Here's you and I, we're here on the chat show and we've got Arthur here and he pays his friends in beer. That's the new currency. Forget Bitcoin. That's just old fashioned now. Beer in pint glasses. Well, actually not pint glasses in Switzerland, are they? They come in half litres or whatever they are. But it's the same thing at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that there's a massive lesson there, right? And it's a shame we can't go down the pub and speak to our mates about business, but we're constantly communicating, and it does make me wonder: are we constantly communicating about the right kind of stuff? Are we too busy talking about us and what we do rather than asking questions out there, asking advice, asking feedback, and having more two-way conversations, just like this one, rather than just saying, well, this is who I am and this is what I do, shouting about my solution.
Yeah. I think just, when I was coming on this call, I was actually quite curious to know whether we were going to be talking about, just parcel tracker or just general business stuff. And to be honest, I prefer to talk about general business stuff most of the time because I talk about parcel tracker all day long. So I really enjoy, just talking about, processes, how people think, how kind of this whole new world has changed, and just an interesting, about just the way conversations have changed now, right? An interesting thing about that is we're always talking kind of on an almost formal level, or there's not anymore that pub energy, right? Where you might have a drink on a call, and then because there's things happening around you, there's some randomness, which creates events and just makes the evening go by nicer, and also creates experiences where you bond with people. That doesn't really happen that much now. You kind of have to force it and like have drinks on Fridays with your mates on Zoom, for example. That's one thing, right? And I think that's how a major way that the society has changed quite a bit. I don't know if there's a point to that, but I just observe that.
I think there is a massive point, because there's a lot of conversations about or when things get back to normal, or when we're allowed to meet up. I think people are still going to want to kind of dial in rather than let's get together for a meeting. Oh, can I dial in? People are going to get really comfortable with what we have right now. And we know that what we have right now lacks that kind of, as you're talking about it, that energy, that kind of spontaneity, that a conversation around the water cooler or over a coffee kind of is a different conversation than the sorts of online, let's work through an agenda conversation.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think we're more productive now than we used to be?
Well, I think some possibly, yes. I think others, no. It really depends if you're endorsing, the tech that's out there that can help your business, or you're kind of trying to bat it off because you want to get back to the way that you was working. But I think here comes that word, Nick, lots of people have pivoted their business or changed the way they work to fit the scenarios we're in. And we are, as Nick just reported in the news, we're a year on since the pandemic was, kind of finalized, and we're going into this situation we still find ourselves in. And how much longer will we be in this situation for? Arthur, it's been great speaking to you. I think we could probably be speaking for another half an hour and finding out more about what you do. More importantly, what you're going to be doing. I think we're going to have to get you back on the show maybe, well, I think 6 months. You'd probably be venturing off in other angles. 2 years from now, you never know, you might be battling for Elon Musk's wealth and, that superhero that you support. Might play on it, rather than Elon Musk. He's Arthur Zargaryan or however we pronounce it.
It's Zargaryan, man. Mm-hmm.
Zargaryan, that's it. That's the one. So Arthur, thank you so much for joining us. A pleasure to have you here, and definitely catch up with you very, very soon.
It was a pleasure, guys.
Thanks, Arthur.
See you soon, man. Well, Nick, it's coming to that closing point. We've got about 4 minutes to go, but let's just go to a quick ad break. And when we come back, we're going to wrap this show up and we're going to find out what the next week or two holds. Well, a couple of minutes to go, Nick. This is where we've made, the time to fill the time that's remaining in the countdown before we finish today. Great show. Great. 2 fantastic guests, Mark Coventry and Arthur, our superhero, joining us today. Something very different as well.
Yeah. Learn loads, as I always do. Really good conversations. I'm still contemplating that question from Arthur. Do you think we're more productive? And I'm not convinced we are. I think we feel more efficient, but not necessarily more productive. That's going to linger with me. Just like good conversations do, right? They kind of make you think and linger. So really enjoyed the show. Really enjoyed our guests, and really grateful that they're kind enough to share their experience and their knowledge for all of us and the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you would like to come on the show with myself and Nick in the future, we would welcome, for you to let us know that. And you can get in touch in a couple of ways. The first way is drop us an email at hello@unie.co.uk. Ping Nick and I an email and say, I want to be on your show, guys. Tell us a little bit about what you do, just in a paragraph, and we will then ping you back a very short and easy survey where we just want to glean a little bit more about who you are and what you do, and when's the right show to bring you on as well, with the right guests and stuff like that. Or of course you can pop it in the chat box as well. Pop in the chat box, I want to be a star on your show. And again, we'd welcome you to come on here. Next week we've got 2 fabulous ladies joining us. It's an all-female lineup next week. Today was an all-male lineup, but next week is an all-female lineup, and we have Mo joining us, and Mo I think is from Watch This Space, so that'll be quite interesting. Learn more about what Mo does, and Rachel Dines, if I remember.
Dines. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Well. So a fabulous lineup for next week's show. Now I'm going to be on the road next week, Nick. I'm travelling back from Spain back to the UK. So Nick is going to be in the hosting hot seat with all the buttons, and I'm going to be streaming live from somewhere on the road. I'm going to find a safe space to stop. Make sure I've got good 4G. I'm going to turn on the camera. And I'm going to do it from the side of the road whilst having a cup of coffee and a bit of rest as well. So that's going to be exciting.
It is going to be exciting. The show that where anything can happen, you're letting me control the tech. Oh my goodness gracious. It might look different. It might feel different, but it'll be an adventure. That's for sure. Hopefully you can find somewhere with really good signal, David, because it could all start unraveling pretty quick with me in charge.
And then after that, we're back in the UK, back on Terra Firma, and we'll be obviously streaming weekly from Thursdays, on Thursdays, 4 till 5 p.m. So if it's not in your diary, put it in the diary. And Nick and I are looking to expand this out over time as well. So, just out of interest, would an evening show suit you better, an early morning show? We're looking at all opportunities. So let us know, use the chat box, drop us an email. Anyway, from me, David Bell.
And from me, Nick Looby.
We'll see you soon. See you next week.